Welcome to the explainer. All right, so in our last explainer, we really dug into the power of a single neuron. Today, we're going to take that concept and scale it way up. We're going to see how you can combine tons of these neurons into powerful networks that can solve some seriously complex problems.
So just to recap, we know that a single neuron is our fundamental building block, right? It takes in data, weighs it, and spits out a single, simple output. It's basically one little decision maker.
Because, let's be real, the world is way more complicated than a series of simple decisions. We're talking about recognizing faces in photos, understanding human language, that kind of stuff. The real power here doesn't come from just one neuron, but from connecting a whole bunch of them together. So the big question is, how in the world do you organize them?
Well, the way we solve this is actually pretty elegant. We just stack these simple units, kind of like building a massive, intricate castle out of basic Lego blocks. The magic isn't in the individual block, it's all about how you stack them together.
And this idea right here, this is the absolute heart of deep learning. We're not trying to make each neuron into a super genius. Nope. We're just creating a much smarter architecture by connecting them in very specific layered ways.
Yeah, it's not just a chaotic mass of connections. There's a very clear, very organized structure to it, and it's called a feed-forward neural network. It has a specific blueprint that it follows every time.
So let's look at that blueprint. Every feed-forward network is made up of at least 3 different kinds of layers, and each one has its own critical job to do.
The name feed-forward actually gives you a massive clue about how it works. Information only flows in one direction. It goes in through the input layer, it gets crunched and transformed in the middle by these hidden layers, and then the final result pops out of the output layer. It's a one-way street, no going backward.
Think of it like an assembly line. The input layer is where all the raw materials get dropped off. The hidden layers, that's where all the work happens, all the shaping and combining and processing. And finally, the output layer is where the finished product comes out. Each layer is neatly sandwiched between the one before it and the one after it, creating this really clear path for the data to follow.
Okay, now imagine every single neuron in one layer connecting to every neuron in the next. You suddenly have this massive tangled web of connections. Trying to manage the strength of each one of those connections individually would be an absolute nightmare. We need a better way, a more powerful language to talk about this. And to wrangle all that complexity, we turn to the, frankly, beautiful and super efficient language of linear algebra. We're going to use matrices and vectors to describe whole layers of connections all at once.
This is where the weight matrix, which we just call W, comes in. It is the perfect tool for the job. You can think of it as the complete schematic for a single layer's connections. Every single number inside this matrix represents the strength of one of those connections. It's all there in one tidy grid.
Now, along with the weights, every neuron also gets its own bias, and we represent those with the vector B. The bias is kind of like a fine-tuning knob. It lets the network shift a neuron's activation, which gives the whole system way more flexibility to fit the data just right.
And here is where it all comes together so elegantly. With this one simple formula, you can calculate the output for an entire layer of neurons in one go. You just multiply the weight matrix W by the inputs, add that bias vector B, and then run the whole thing through an activation function. It's incredibly efficient.
This table here really helps visualize it. Let's say your input layer has 784 neurons, maybe for a 28 by 28 pixel image. And let's say the next hidden layer has 15 neurons. Well, for the math to work, your weight matrix W has to have 15 rows and 784 columns. That's how you map every one of those 784 inputs to each of the 15 new neurons. The dimensions have to line up perfectly.
So we've got the architecture down, and we have the math to describe it efficiently. But what does it actually look like when a piece of data goes on its journey through the network? Well, that process is super logical and sequential, and it's called the forward pass.
So let's trace that journey. We're going to follow a single piece of data as it gets processed, layer by layer, all the way from raw input to a final prediction. The process is really straightforward. Data comes in, the first hidden layer does its calculation and produces an output. That output then gets handed off to the next layer as its input. And this just repeats, layer after layer, all the way through the network until the final output layer gives us our answer. The most important thing to remember is that each layer only knows about the output from the layer that came right before it. And this step-by-step transformation, this is where the magic really happens. You see, the first layer might just learn to spot simple things like little edges or lines in an image.
But then the next layer takes those edges as its input and learns to combine them into more complex shapes, like corners or circles. And then a deeper layer might combine those shapes to start recognizing things like eyes and noses, until a final layer puts it all together and says, hey, that's a face. It's this beautiful hierarchy of learning.
Which brings us right back to the central idea of this whole explainer. It's the simple act of stacking these layers that unlocks this incredible ability to model the really complex, messy relationships that exist out in the real world.
I mean, the difference in capability is just night and day. A single neuron can only draw a straight line to separate data. But a multi-layer network, it can draw these incredibly complex, wiggly boundaries to capture any pattern. In fact, there's a famous theorem that basically says a neural network with enough neurons can learn to approximate any continuous function you can think of. That's a staggering amount of power.
Okay, this all sounds fantastic for making a prediction, but what happens when the network gets it wrong? How does it go back and tweak all those thousands of weights and biases to get better next time? Well, that is the next amazing piece of the puzzle, and it involves a really clever process of working backward, something we're going to dive into in a future explainer.
If this helped you connect the dots, please do us a favor and hit that like button, share with someone who might find it useful, and subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Thanks for watching.